The views and opinions expressed on the show are those of the guests or hosts, and not necessarily those of the advertisers, networks, platforms, or stations. Warning that the content of the show may not be suitable for all audiences, and that viewer discretion is advised. The show does not intend to provide medical, legal, or financial advice, and viewers or listeners should consult with a professional before making any decisions based on the information presented.
Hello and welcome to the Vixen'S Vault. Unfortunately, our Wiccan Vixen couldn't make it in tonight. She's not feeling well. So we are going to fill in for her. And I have just the guy who was just on the last show that I produced too. Jack here. He's going to come in and do some relief pitching for us tonight. And we also have with us tonight Mark Edworthy, Roger Hansen, we got DK Conspiracy, and David Campione. So, yeah, we're all here. And before I forget, she always says, it's 8:01, 11 June 2025. And I'm turning it over to you, Jack.
Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us on Vixen'S Vault. We're filling in for the beautiful and brilliant Nancy Planetta, who has the evening off. And, we're not really sure what Nancy had for the subject matter, but I thought we would do a conspiracy roundtable since we have some great guests in the room tonight, in the studio tonight. We've got David Campione. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jack. How are you up there in your silo? You doing well?
Doing good here in the radioactive wastelands of the Dakota Territories. So, not too shabby. So we have Mr. Roger Hansen. How are you doing, Roger? Mr. Roger Hansen went for coffee or something?
Yeah, sorry about that. I have been trying to figure out where the unmute button is for like the last 2 minutes. So
yeah. We know you're out to lunch, literally and figuratively.
I just watched this amazing stream where this dude was talking about Toth and like tablets, green or blue or some shit like that. It was awesome. It was awesome. And then I heard Bigfoot and Sasquatch is going to get in a fight with a werewolf and a dogman and eventually turn into like this horrible, horrible big creature that eats shit.
That'd be cool.
Same here.
That'd make a
I think
good
you just
movie.
missed out Godzilla.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
And there's DK. How you doing this evening, DK, with us?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. It's always a joy. And Mr. Mark Edworthy is in the studio tonight. How you doing, Mark?
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Excellent. How are things in England?
Interesting, let's to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're interesting all over. There is the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well,
Yeah,
we are all cursed, aren't we?
Is that actually a Chinese curse? The first time I heard it was in a Terry Pratchett book. Is that actually a Chinese curse?
Yeah, it came from a Chinese. I think it.
Yeah. As far as I know, it's an ancient Chinese saying. Yeah, may you live in interesting times. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He uses it as a curse in the book, but I don't think he quotes, or I don't think he says it's from China. That's all. So I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know it's from China, but yeah, because it's the book's called Interesting Times. And he uses the quote, and he uses the quote right, I think it's right at the start of chapter 1 or something, saying there is an ancient proverb that says, may you live in interesting times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where it eventually came from. But yeah, so tonight let's do a conspiracy roundtable in the spirit of the show, and each person rattle off a conspiracy and what your main point and concern is with it. I'll start off with David. What do you think, David? What's the biggest conspiracy out there right now?
Oh, well, of course, the UFO, UAP, whatever they want to call them. I still say, well, my dad used to call them spacecraft. That's what they termed their craft as always. Well, they knew what they were flying. We're down here, we don't know. That's why we always call them unidentified, and even if it's a UAP. But I understand that there's there's a disclosure group going on in oh God, where the heck is it? Somewhere down here, Clearwater, Florida, I think it is, or St. Petersburg in Florida, with Brian Sang. I think he's supposed to be doing something this month.
Oh yeah, he was gonna have a big convention. So
yeah.
That could be
his second convention down there with and of course I've been waiting since the 50s for the disclosure to happen. So if it ever happens, the conspiracy, it'll happen. Hopefully it'll happen this month or next month or something, and we'll see what's going on. Yeah, with the flames.
I covered that last. It looks like the powers that be that want to keep the conspiracy, the secrecy going because of their nefarious use of alien technology, back engineered or not, to conduct a worldwide human trafficking ring. Basically, is what it comes down to. Is something they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep from ever coming out. And the truth is nothing's going to stop it at this stage from coming out. It's like it's built into the cake of what eventually will definitely take place. Yeah. So, but Roger, what do you think? What's the biggest conspiracy out there in the world right now? Epstein files?
He's on coffee break and smoking coffee break.
How about you, DK?
Heck, which one do you want me to start with?
Sorry, I had to mute it again.
Well, whichever you think is the most threatening at the moment. What's the most...
currently the most threatening, there are definitely a couple of things that I'd put at the top of the list. One of them is Palantir basically trying to end up with their 4 different organizations. They end up with control of like data, healthcare, Inland Revenue Service records, and there's another one. But they basically, and the 4th one I think is AI. So they're already going to be allowed access to basically all of your information, because one of them's the online monitoring. That's all your data. So there's the online monitoring, the healthcare, and IRS and AI. They eventually want to replace politics with technology. There was a talk by one of them. I think it was the CEO. I don't think it was that Alex Karp dude. It was someone else, and he was saying that he actually wants to replace politics with technology, because at this point you're trying to convince people to vote or think a different way, when you can use AI and technology just to convince or force them to do it. But that's like right at the top of the list. Yeah, the other one is everyone's favorite topic, the chemtrails. Are they actually terraforming our planet? And here's a few options for you, because I've said this quite a few times on my shows. So, humans do not need to terraform their own planet. We've been living here for however long we've been living here. We know what grows in what area at what time of the year. These things are called seasons. So now why is someone trying to terraform our planet? It only leaves a few possibilities, and they're kind of scary. First possibility is, sadly, one of the least scary outcomes, is that if it is AI, and they're trying to make the outside world so scary and dangerous that we all want to move into smart cities and be looked after and be controlled prisoners. That's the best of these 4 outcomes. The second one is, well, number 2 and number 3 are sort of the same. It depends on your belief system. So it's either aliens or demons that are trying to terraform the planet. So there's like number 2 and 3, and it just depends on your belief system, whether you would side with aliens or you'd side with demons. That's why I included both. And the 4th one is there really is a bunch of evil people out there just trying to kill us.
Yeah, deep population of the planet by the global elite, because
But if they're spraying these chemtrails everywhere, is it not getting them as well? Because it blows everywhere.
Yeah, it does. For a long time.
That's what I mean. So it's like, it's that was option 4, like the super evil people just trying to kill us. But it's of no benefit to them because they're going to be killing themselves as well.
That kind of goes into what I was saying too, though. What I was planning on doing for my next conspiracy episode on my channel is Jade Helm. I think a lot of people have forgotten about what Jade Helm was about. And it goes into a lot of what DK was just talking about. And if you take a look at the numbers for the amount of guns that have been freaking confiscated since 2015, which that's what Jade Helm 15 was, you see that there's a heightened amount of guns that have been not only confiscated, but they're starting to trace them now. That means that they're putting them back into the hands of criminals so that they can actually track them. It's getting pretty crazy when it comes to that and what they're doing there. But then you look at the businesses that have been put out of business because of a lot of things going on today too. You look at the numbers, everything's gone up. And then with the whole thing of COVID happening, bam, it just fits right into this whole agenda. And like we've been having a conversation about Bundy Ranch here recently. That happened in 2014, and then bam, we had Jade Helm in 2015. It's more than a coincidence.
Yeah, that Bundy Ranch one's quite good. I was watching a documentary on Rumble about it a week or so ago. It's actually, it's quite crazy about there being no actual government ownership. Is it in Nevada?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he just goes, okay, well, I guess I own this. And I'll start leasing it out to the people and we'll start doing some good with it.
Yeah, for going back to the chemtrails for a second, I've long wondered, because I'm a big proponent, I'm a big believer that ice ages are cyclical, that another ice age will occur on this planet. And if you had an ice age like the last one, it would be civilization ending. Let's call it that, right? Cool. So is it possible that there were people who believe that in places of power, including like Elon Musk was even on Joe Rogan saying he believes the next ice age is just right around the corner, right? But people like that who believe that in places of power, who are using the chemtrails to artificially warm this planet up in anticipation of us rolling into another ice age. So if you could offset it somehow, but I think that's a mistake on their part if that's what they're doing, because I don't think you're ever going to be able to offset a real ice age like that.
I've got an interesting theory on this one too. You know those ancient clocks that you find over in Europe that's got the larger clock face and then the smaller circle in it?
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so as long as you're sort of understanding the clock faces that I mean. So that smaller circle moves through each one of the star signs every 2,600 years. So as that smaller circle moves around the outside of the larger circle, one edge is obviously going to start warming up, and the other edge is obviously going to start cooling.
It's funny you talk about global cooling because, of course, we've had the entire narrative post last 20 odd years about global warming, and I was watching a YouTube video just last week in which a British commentator was talking about British newspaper headlines of the 1970s, and there was this entire fear of eventual global cooling.
Yep.
So yeah, it's interesting how it's shit.
There's a different one every 10 years. There's a different one every 10 years. There was global cooling, global warming, acid rain, hole in the ozone layer. I think I'm missing one. Something else, and now they've just gone for climate change because it covers everything.
Right.
Yeah, but every single time they've said civilization as we know it is going to end because this is happening. It's going to end in 10 years if we don't do something about it now. Let's invest lots of money to try and do something about it right now. Every single time, people's taxes increased. Nothing happened. And the taxes never went down again. Then they increase the taxes next time when they bring up the next little climate hoax.
Yeah, well, the non-human intelligence that is inhabiting and ultimately ruling this planet has far too much invested in its favorite animal farm, the human capital on this planet, to ever let the planet actually, go bye-bye through global warming.
DK, you mentioned that civilization as we know it. Isn't civilization, the concept of civilization, by definition, always changing anyway? I mean, we've got a different civilization than, let's say, Britain had in 2,000 years ago.
Well, that's because you guys don't have zombies anymore. Like back in the day, man, you guys had zombies that you had to fight off, and
that's not good to talk about Italians and zombies.
I mean, basically civilizations in general, as a whole group, every different civilization, because this is going to affect everyone. It's not just a one-off and picking a civilization. Thank you for trying to make me clarify that there, Mr. Hedworthy.
Well, you did a good job at clarifying it because it's good. It's a good thing to actually say, because like for me, when it comes to like this global warming, global cooling thing, I find it, what you were talking about there is it all involves money. Okay, and when you do the research, you start finding out that they gave up on the global cooling idea because it was more profitable to talk about global warming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whichever. I can't remember the order, but yeah, just all those things that I reeled off before. Each one of them was a decade long, and that's just been in my lifetime, I think.
And if you
organizations need to be able to justify their own existence.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this in the DEI sort of movement. So when one idea becomes unpopular, these organizations have to justify their existence by creating another issue or similar issue.
Yeah, Hegelian dialectic type thing.
At one time, it was people used to talk about both the global cooling and global warming. It was kind of like a time that they actually considered both theories, but then they gave up the global cooling and went with the global warming. And that was right around the time Greenpeace became popular, and Earth Day, I think, is the holiday that they have now where they celebrate Earth Day or some shit. It was in 1980, and after that point, they started pushing the whole global warming agenda, where
That's what I mean. That's why they've just gone with climate change. Because people can see clearly right now, it's like, it's hotter in some places, and it's colder in other places.
Exactly.
Climate change means that's going to happen. So yeah, because you can't go with just like global warming or global cooling anymore. If one place is hotter than usual and somewhere else is colder than usual, it can't just be called global warming or global cooling. The climate change is a cover-all definition. It gives them an out for no matter what happens.
I think the planet's it's just in a phase of transition, like like an American athlete.
I so hate that word.
This planet has been around for I was going to say 5 billion years, but that's how long our solar system has been around. But this planet's been around for billions of years, and obviously there's been changes in climate throughout that period.
Yeah.
Why do you expect it's going to be any different now or in the future?
Well, they say there's been 5 major extinction events. How long do you think each one of those major civilizations last before there's a major extinction event? Because it wasn't like it happened yesterday. I know some people say the mud flood thing happened sometime during the 1800s. So I don't know. That means that everything that we've been told since after the mud floods is all made up history in the first place anyway.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, but the whole idea that civilizations have only been here for a blink of an eye as far as time's concerned. So who's to say that they're not an anomaly?
Genetic modification is what it is. Like aliens came down and genetically modified us into the creatures that we are now.
That's Sitchin's and Lloyd Pye's theory on it, eh?
If you look at the way we've evolved, and then you look at this spark that happened, and then within 5,000-6,000 years, all of a sudden we went from growing crops to freaking sending people up into space. That's completely amazing all on its own. That no animal on this planet has done that.
That we're allowed to know about. As I said, who knows what the civilizations like Tartaria and things actually had achieved before the reset.
Well, and there's some argument being made by some of our scientists that if there's a non-human intelligence on this planet, that it came about through protogenesis, meaning that it evolved parallel to the human species just ahead of us by quite a ways, and far enough ahead of us that technologically speaking, they're able to keep their distance from us, even in a planet as crowded as ours is, with 8 billion plus of us teeming on the surface.
The 8 billion people, if you cram them into, I don't know, which country is it? I think if you cram the 8 billion into how compact Indonesia is, it only takes up like New York State or something, all 8 billion people.
I'd hate to see that sewer system.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not meaning that. But what I'm getting at is when they say the world's overpopulated, it's only certain areas that are.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If you stood them all just shoulder to shoulder, but the problem is humans have to have infrastructure and stores and convenience stores and Walmart and everything else. Yeah.
No, we actually don't have to.
I was going to say, DK, you in Australia.
In New Zealand, man. In New Zealand. Not everything here is trying to kill me, just the politicians.
Okay. I was going to suggest, what is the percentage of occupied space in Australia? It isn't that great.
Australia is same with New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
There's we've got 5 million. I think we're about to I think this is about to shut down, so I think we're gonna have to restart in a sec. So we'll carry on the discussion after, man. I think this is a restart time.
He's doing a countdown.
And talking about a restart, let's go ahead and go to our first break of the night. and we'll be right back after this.
On frickin'.
Have you muted all the other channels? Am I allowed to speak?
Hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there in the critical moments after the attack of 9/11. It was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3940.
The Vixen's Vault, and no, I'm not the Vixen, although I sometimes wear women's dresses. Just kidding. The Vixen is out tonight.
No, he's not.
She is brilliant and beautiful Nancy Planeta, and she could not be in this evening. And I'm your fill-in host, Jack Carey from PIA Radio Live, and we've got a terrific roundtable, and we're discussing scary conspiracy theories. And DK was just talking about Lloyd Pye, and he wanted to make a point. What were you getting at there, DK?
Okay, there's probably other places as well, but there's Lloyd Pye, and he does a breakdown of can't remember the guy's first name, Stitchins. He does like a more understandable breakdown of it. The first hour of his documentary is basically disproving evolution, and then the second half goes into how was it Nibiru, the last time it passed near Earth in its orbit or something. It's like they came here to try and get gold, but the Nibiruans, Anunnaki, I can't remember exactly which term he uses, but they didn't want to be used as slaves, so that's when they started trying to create some sort of hybrid between their own DNA and a local species, which were obviously some form of like Neanderthal or something.
Oh, so you're talking about like, Zachariah Sitchin. There you go.
But Lloyd Pye does, but Lloyd Pye does an easier breakdown.
Prophet.
But Lloyd Pye does a easier to understand breakdown of it. That's what I was saying. Zachariah Stitchins is like a lot more complicated and convoluted. Lloyd Pye has broken it down into like, here's me disproving evolution, and now here we go into what I think actually happened, because he says that the Sumerian civilization is one of the first that came into existence, and yes, I am using the word civilization as civilized and not just a group or a tribe. But suddenly there was a civilization that had fortresses, walls, language, laws, and trade and markets and everything. And it just came from nowhere.
Not even the language has root words that they can trace back. That's the most amazing part about that.
And it basically says that at some point after they evolved humans to look like them, in effect, they had a breeding interaction with them. And this was the source of Genesis 6:4 that talks about how there was the sons of God who came unto the daughters of men and had children by them. That's exactly what they were talking about. And these children were known as Adamu, which is where the word Adam comes from. And the very first Adamu was given the priesthood kingship of the very first civilization, which was very near the colony of what was then E.Den or Eden. And that was in Mesopotamia, right where Samaria is. So that's all makes sense.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the Zachariah Sitchins one, but I've seen the Lloyd Pye one a few times. I think it's on BitChute. It's probably wherever, but I think it's called Everything We've Been Told, or Everything You've Been Told is a Lie. They might even say his name, Lloyd Pye. But yeah, it's a 2-hour documentary. Well worth the watch. Especially, I think it's just over the second half. I think it's from about It is roughly the second half, but it's just before or after where he switches from the disproving evolution onto the alien breeding program thing. And that's why we have, 10% access to our brains? Because they don't want their slaves getting too smart.
Yeah, they blocked off 90% of our mental powers, but ended up depositing within our Earth's mystery schools around the globe in ancient times secrets to unlocking human psychic ability. And we were joined after our break by Vicky Vass, and she's in our table this evening as well. And we were going to ask her, what's your scariest conspiracy, Vicky?
Let's see. The scariest one. Well, I think it's kind of scary. The genetically engineered life forms. You know, they were concocting all the experimental creatures, like in Dulce. They're the Dulce. I find those kind of, that's disturbing as far as the genetically combining, beast and, that the transhumanism, it's kind of going in that direction where they're messing with, or even like the super soldiers where they're trying to enhance, genetically, powers to make superpowers. That's really playing God. That's really messing with something they should not mess with. I find that kind of disturbing. But the conspiracy theories about them, us bumping into them during this taking down of the cabal, as far as when that happens and they come up out of the ground, and it's just kind of unpleasant. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a conspiracy theory out there that when the cabal finally crashes, when they're taken out, that these creatures will escape the underground laboratories they've been kept in and will wreak havoc on the surface up here. And a lot of people in cryptozoology land believe that one of the main reasons they've kept the Sasquatch undercover and trying to ridicule any researcher and doing the same thing they do with UFOs is that they're attempting to weaponize the species the same way that they weaponize back-engineered alien technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that I find kind of, that's scary. I mean, if that would be happening, like you said about the dogmen or those things escaping, and like if they're really in the national parks and they get out. And
one of the craziest things that I heard to do with things escaping was mention of an underground base in Antarctica. It was just one of those random, scary stories on the internet shows that I obviously just left playing one night. And it's going on about these underground bases. People went in because there was a doctor first. It started from this doctor, and like some team of special forces come in with no insignias and things, and one guy's just been sliced up, sort of thing, like clean slices. And they pulled a gun on him and said, don't ask any questions, just patch him up, sort of thing. But over the next few weeks or months or whatever, he ended up patching up lots of people from this guy's group. And so eventually the guy sort of mentioned a few things. And said, these things out there, I think he said they're called striders or something. And they were trying to clear out some base because they'd killed all the researchers and everything on the base and escaped and was sort of running free. And so they were trying to eliminate them all. When they get in there, they find them in size variants from like big ones that are like 8 feet tall. They're like sort of crab spidery looking things, and they jump around. I can't remember how many legs, whether it was 6 or 8. But yeah, and they like do like launch attack sort of things. But there was also the little ones which he said were more of a problem because the little ones would hunt in packs. Mm-hmm. So little ones would come at them from, like, you know, every different direction. Like, I don't know, some weird video game type thing, to be honest. But so they start trying to clear out this underground base and things. Then they find that there's underground tunnels with, like, maglift technology and things. And these tunnels apparently run to major centers all the way around the world. So these things supposedly have already taken off down all these tunnels and made it to everywhere in the world. How's that for a bedtime story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's 144 known documented DUMBs in North America, which are deep underground military bases, and it's rumored that they're connected by a high-speed maglev, you know, rail
And the thing
system.
is, I think there's more, because that was what was said by Phil Schneider back when.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So today there would be more.
Yeah, exactly. Or else I've just expanded the ones that are there and made the connections better. I mean, they don't necessarily have to build more whole things. They could just be expanding the ones I've got. But it wouldn't surprise me if they've built more as well. I mean, how much money does NASA get every year?
Yeah, and we're not the only countries that build them. Russia has
That's right.
enough deep underground military base area to house its entire population during a nuclear war. Think
Wow.
about it.
I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, it's that much.
How many of these were made during World War II, and how many of these were made during the Cold War?
Nah, these are mostly made a long time earlier than that. And they've just been rediscovered, sort of thing, and repurposed.
Yeah, I mean, when they talk about, Alcatraz, there's supposed to be tunnels under that, and allegedly, for the people to hide in the Civil War, and I'm like, really? Really?
There's another great conspiracy for you.
Exactly.
The three people who escaped Alcatraz bear a striking resemblance to the three people who supposedly walked on the moon. Go look that one up.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you.
It was the England brothers.
Uncanny. Yeah, I mean, it is uncanny. It's like, I don't know. I just saw something about that myself, and I was like, oh, that's a crazy one I haven't heard before. Wow.
That's all codex.
Well, if you think that's pretty interesting, take a look at H.P. Lovecraft. Then after you take a look at H.P. Lovecraft, look at Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
The resemblance is so uncanny.
Yeah, but now you're just talking about the cloning projects, and if you want to find out stuff about that, go and look up Donald Marshall. He's actually got a series on YouTube where he talks about what he went through and experienced being used as one of the templates for the clones and things.
There's an argument to be made that Facebook is the modern day Cthulhu.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm sure it has its tentacles everywhere. Beware of the old ones.
Yeah, well, that's just saying AI, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, there's a video out there where someone's son was playing online with one of the AI chatbots thing, and it started saying it was actually a demon, but it was a good demon, and it was there to help him and stuff. And the kid went and told his dad, and his dad comes back, sort of like reads through it, and I think he types a few more things, or else he might have just read back through the last 15 minutes and was like, nah, you're not using that again. But yeah, this thing was admitting that it was a demon as an AI chatbot to a kid online.
Huh.
It's like a 15-minute video. Yeah. It was like the full, It's crazy. There's so much crazy things out there that people don't always find. I mean, I'm not sort of bragging, but my name does actually imply what I do. It is all about conspiracies. Investigate every conspiracy because they all fit together, eventually. When you find enough pieces, you seem to be able to make a whole section. And then when you find enough pieces of another whole section, sometimes those sections fit together.
Well, sure, yeah. And, you know, I think the scariest conspiracy for me right now, which has a lot of interesting real evidence, and people like Michio Kaku now acknowledging this, is the fact that it looks like the human species has received from either an entity or by tripping some sort of kill switch in the matrix, we have received a download, an information brainworm, if you will, into the consciousness of humanity through the Voyager spacecraft. And the fact is, once Voyager reads, and this happened last October, people are just now beginning to talk about it, but Voyager all of a sudden perked up, came alive, and the chips on board ended up being completely reprogrammed by an intelligence that nobody can figure out where it came from, but it received a data transmission that simultaneously reworked the computer chips on board and transmitted an image back to the controllers, the scientists who were controlling the spacecraft and its telemetry and all of that. And here's where things get weird. The image was made up of geometric structures that our mathematics have not even discovered yet. And in totality, it formed the body of a human being. Wow. Even weirder still is a few scientists actually saw that image, and as soon as they laid eyes on it, they felt a very strange sensation take over them. It was only a few weeks later, after they had suffered a number of mental strange things taking place, that they had a bunch of tests done, and it was shown that their neural pathways in their brains had literally been rewired through looking at an image. Wow. Now, guys, we can do a lot of things with images. We can evoke, emotions, and we can get the juices flowing in the human body. We cannot remap neural pathways in a human brain. And
can you not do it with trauma? You could do it with trauma.
I actually watched something about it this morning. There was something that was going on about. Yeah, forgive me if this is like a not good topic, but about magic mushrooms, about psilocybin. Oh, and it was saying it's the only thing they've found that because they finally started doing tests on it. They've been giving people, giving it to people and observing from the outside. They finally started mapping brain waves and everything while people were on it. It shuts down your internal ego. Like, as in that goes silent. So nothing is about I, nothing is about me.
Yeah, you can. Anymore. There's all kinds of stuff.
And wait, this gets crazier. And then it started actually creating pathways between different sections of the brain that there had not previously been pathways.
Sure.
See, once you shut down that bit, like that bit where it's all about me, I, once that goes dead silent, everything else started like working in harmony and creating its own pathways. They said for some people it lasted for weeks, some people it lasted for months, some people there were actual lifelong changes over it.
Yeah, and a lot of different substances can be used to alter neural pathways, and trauma can do it, but devising an image to do it is a whole other.
Well, see, I've been covering that with the Cosmic Weave series that I've been doing, and a lot of people don't really like to accept that in the paranormal community because it relates to the cosmic egg and all of the stuff in mysticism and history. And the reason why they don't like that is because you take a look at like remote viewing, okay, which is grounded in parapsychology. And you listen to a lot of people who talk about remote viewing, and they don't want to research parapsychology and find out that that is grounded deeply in the cosmic egg and this connection that we have with the universe. Because if we admit that, then we have to say that what we're seeing isn't really what we're seeing, it's what we're able to see. Our conscious is only able to comprehend that. So when you see UFOs and you see ghosts, is it really what you're looking at, or is it what your mind's able to comprehend?
Yeah.
Either way, it's something.
Right.
Either way, I saw it.
That brings up, before we go on to our next break, but that brings up an account by Dr. Gary Nolan, the chief scientist chosen by the powers that be to study brain damage caused by interaction between witnesses and the UFO phenomenon, has a family of witnesses who were driving in like a station wagon type of car that had a translucent roof on it, like a fiberglass, one of those 360 roofs on it. And they were hovered over by a UFO, right? And everybody in the car saw this craft, big, giant craft that was hovering over the car, except for one witness. And what that one witness in the car saw was a tiny little orb, of a metallic orb that had flown over the car, and it was projecting the image of this much larger craft to everybody in it. Right. How strange is that?
Oh, Project Bluebeam. Maybe not everyone is susceptible
Project
to
Bluebeam is right. Yeah, we're waiting for that.
That's something I never thought of, though. Maybe not everyone is susceptible to it. I mean, it's obviously going to get the majority, but maybe not everyone's actually susceptible to it.
Maybe whatever beings these are is able to tap into our brain and how it's structured to make us see exactly what it wants us to see and what it doesn't want us to see.
That's the other possibility. It's either like human technology or it's completely alien.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to bring up the concept of those magic eye pictures. Some people cannot see, the pictures are repeating.
The 3D pictures when they've just got different colours and stuff.
Some people just cannot see those pictures, and after some training, some people can, and some people can just see those images naturally.
Yeah, so, I get most of them. Every once in a while, I can't see one, and it annoys me. You got to let your eyes go out of focus. If you let your eyes go out of focus, like you stare past it, sort of thing. Like you're trying to look further away, then sometimes it actually works. Like there's a few little tricks I've used on different ones. But yeah, I like those things. It really pisses me off if I can't see it.
Yeah. But with that, I have to ask the inevitable question. Is it, just like a computer virus, has now a brain worm, a virus from some kind of entity been downloaded into human consciousness? It's done. It's there. It's made its way into the stream. We are all connected psychically. And so now it's working its way around the planet through human consciousness, making changes that we can't see or even begin to imagine right now. Think about that.
I'm sorry, I'm not in the Black Eye Club yet. I know that worm is making its way around some people. It has not got to me.
I'm not sure if I buy it.
Invited in. If you have to invite it in, like.
Well, that's possibly or be introduced to it.
Basic guys, you're all going to be victims of an alien brainworm. That's the way it is.
No, I'm not. I'll make my cats eat it.
He probably already is, and he doesn't know it yet.
I'm like Oprah. You get a alien brainworm. You get an.
Well, I'm opting for the Russian death worm.
There is a prize for each one of you under your chair. Right now, every one of you.
We brought you in, DK. We're going to transform you now.
That'll never happen. I'm sorry, my brain is wired differently. I don't get led by people. I didn't start using social media till 2020. Before that, I did everything myself. All the research and everything. Like, I was still using platforms. I just didn't talk to anybody. So I didn't have anyone else's ideas or anything pushed on me. I got to go and research everything without people going, oh, no, you need to look at this. Oh, you need to look at that. I went and looked at everything I wanted to look at before I even started talking to people.
And we can continue this on the next segment and hour.
Next exciting episode
of the Vixen's Vault, because right now we have to go to break or we're going to take and get cut off. So we'll be right back after this, folks. Stick around.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
And welcome back. This is hour 2 of the Vixen's Vault. And I have with us Roger Hansen, DK Spiracy, David Campione, Mark Medworthy, and Vicky Vass, who's going to take it from here.
Okay. I was asked to bring up some information. We have quantum computing now, and we have quantum and resonance frequencies. Everything is kind of becoming, as Tesla said, 369. Everything in the universe is frequency, and there's 2 others. And I should know them off the top of my head. But my husband invented a machine. It's called the
frequency, vibration, and what was the third one?
Yeah.
Damn it, I got one more.
And so my husband, being a forensic scientist and having a degree in forensic anthropology, and as being a scientist and doing all these different things, he invented this machine. It's called the quantum oscillator, and it can find like anything, pretty much of a crystalline makeup, people, animals, elements, drugs, odors. And it has a Faraday cage, and what it does is it sends out, if you put, like, say, a person who's missing, maybe alive, maybe dead, their fingernails or hair inside the Faraday cage, and it will send out the frequency of that, the fingernail, the samples of the DNA, the frequency of the DNA of that person, and it will send it out. And it will, if there's a match out there, it sends it back, that message back, the same frequency back. Or he can explain it better than I can, and you can pick it up, and that's how it points, the machine points in the direction of
so it tracks like a unique source of a DNA, if it's of any sort of crystalline structure sort of thing. And it can actually pinpoint that and give a geolocation to someone.
Correct. And it's as sensitive as to one drop of blood from 20 years prior. It is that sensitive. And it in flat areas, he has gotten hits from 60 miles away, and been able to go and identify the missing person, whether they're dead or alive, because their frequency doesn't change.
Is it portable? Like, what size is this?
Yes, it's a handheld unit. Looks like.
Oh wow. How come that isn't used in like every search and rescue response ever?
Because the deep state has shut him down. I mean, he teaches at American Forensic Academy. They don't want him to find people. They don't want this out there. They don't. And they shut him down. He has been forbidden by the FBI.
Here's me thinking of like the positive uses for it. And not why they don't want you to use it. Someone's missing. Yeah, we made them go missing.
Yes. And
you're not allowed to find that person.
Exactly. And so that's the reason I got into, these channels and the Telegram. I was trying to get to contact someone or, within to get this into the hands of, the people looking, like, I guess, Space Force, that are looking for people. And these could be bad people as well, because they, all they need is, and if they can't get, fingernails or hair, teeth from the actual person, they can go get them from a relative, but they have to be a blood relative, like a sibling or a parent. But he has even gotten it down to, is when he's been asked to go into cemeteries and identify family members where the markers are kind of rubbed off. It can go back to what, 8 generations? 5 generations.
Wow.
So, I
actually have to be careful about this. This is the only thing I ever signed an NDA about. And I saw how it could be used for evil then, and it wasn't as good as this. But I saw what he could do, and I've got an NDA from that. Ex-CIA officer, intelligence officer, wanted me to be part of a project. My cut was going to be 2.5 mil. I turned it down. I said I could see what else he was going to use it for. I said, no, I'm not interested, man. Now I live on several $100s a week.
Well, they have
the price of having morals, eh?
Yeah. Well, they've ruined his career, the deep state. He testified in the Casey Anthony case in 2011, and that was a cover-up for the Mike Pence and allegedly Pam Bondi child trafficking hub that they had going back and forth. And that's why, and of course, the FBI or the shadow FBI, the not good guys, they covered it up. So, and ever since that, he's, they've been following, my husband, and they watch everything he does, and they have put a smear campaign on Wikipedia, and they have, and he's not been able to get hired on anywhere.
Vicky, has your husband got a patent or a patent pending out on this device yet?
Is 2 patents on it?
Okay. Cool. Surely he can find some sort of, if he's got enough money, surely he can produce such devices. And
okay, let's go find a beneficial billionaire. One who just doesn't lie to us and then do whatever they want for money.
A lot of companies started out as one-man bands and started out with small numbers of a product, and then grew.
Well, that's the kicker, is that the partners in it, that were part of the patent process, they will not have anything to do with hiring, investors or put that in front of the government or, well, maybe that's fine, but they won't. I think they already got to them.
How about outside of the US? Because he doesn't have to produce and market his products from the US. He could do it in Europe, he could do it in Australia, he could do it...
VPN and do it from, definitely some foreign country with less restrictions. Yeah.
Well, and he has put it in the hands just because of the search and rescue dogs, different people. Yeah. And he works in tandem with it because, a lot of times the people will come up and say, well, you have to have, statistics and this and that. So the real time finds, he's having...
actual data, proof of,
and
proof of results.
It's in real time, and so it does work, and he has found people and things. It can also find drugs. You could use it, explosives, drugs, gold.
See, this is the thing with technology. It could be of such a benefit, but it could be the complete control state. Because there could instantly be, that person's got something in their house. That person's doing something.
And that's why he has
like next level of control. That's like without even needing cameras, and you can find someone from 60 miles away.
With a keyword,
don't get me wrong, there's a lot of positives, but I see a lot of negatives with like the nanny surveillance state.
Well, the thing is,
has anybody ever talked to you about the oscillation process that's going on with his device? Because that's the one thing that sticks out to me. Oscillation, especially when it comes to waves. Okay, like you don't need like blood types or anything like that when it comes to these waves, because like they can actually, if he has the capabilities like that, then he would be able to go off of just waves like delta, gamma, theta, things of that nature.
If you already know the frequencies of things.
Right.
That you wouldn't have to have, like, say, the samples because it's known. But for finding a person, and his concern, he wanted, like, if you have children go missing, that, it would be somehow, what did they say, put it in the cell towers, that frequency, and have it go out, and that way they would be able to find, it would ping on the child, and it would it has to receive the message back. But it's, his concern was to find people, because, how many, thousands of kids go missing every year.
I get what Roger was trying to say. He's like, if he can already tune it to frequencies once he gets a bit of DNA, it's like, can you not tune it then to like basically the aura anyway?
If you're talking about bone, he already has.
Like a person's magnetic frequency. Like the actual frequency, each person,
it's individual. That's why you do need the skin, the hair.
Yeah, now I get you. Yeah, so you still need something that's from that individual, no matter which way you're trying to do it. Yeah,
exactly. If you want to narrow it down to a single person, you probably need that. But like even like with theta waves and all of that, like there's certain ranges that happen within the time span that a human being is born, like when they die. Like older people don't use as much theta waves older in life as what they would when they were, newborns or young. So you could actually do it off of the waves and the frequencies when it comes to generalizing like that. But like
But he does it off the DNA. The DNA is what you just, and actually that doesn't change no matter how, because it can pick it up from blood, and he can pick it up under cement. I mean, deep down, off of, when people get put in a wood chipper and he's found that the DNA of that person was in the cement. That was from the wood chipper and mixed in. Cremains. It's that sensitive. And he found evidence of a person who was killed 20 years prior. It was at a university from one drop of blood in that person's in the room.
I keep saying theta when I should be saying delta. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I'm obsessed.
It sounds fundamentally like how an oscilloscope or a spectrum analyzer works. Rather than using electricity or sound waves, it's doing it on a sort of DNA basis.
Right, exactly. It's that everyone has their own frequency. Every person has their own unique frequencies, except identical twins. And so that is what he uses. It's the frequency to find people. I mean, he has found from the evidence of a person from scat of bears, if they were out, bears, if they were out in, say, a national park or, in the wilderness, or it's found, that person got eaten because the machine pinged on the scat. And I mean, that's
hang on just a sec, though. The fact that a bear ate someone doesn't mean that's how they died.
No, they could have died, beforehand. But
at least you found the remains, and it'll get chalked up to just being an animal attack now.
Yeah.
See? Nothing got lost in the woods. They weren't taken out. Oh, they were eaten by a bear. Of course, makes perfect sense.
Well, I'm just saying it's that sensitive, that part of that.
Oh, I get you. Which is why I'm unsure why you're saying this here.
Well, he has not had any luck. I mean, he is shut down. He has been shut down, and more and more so ever since 2011, and it's from the deep state. He had someone call him in 2018 from the FBI using their voice scrambling technology and apologize for throwing him under the bus during the Casey Anthony case. So apparently someone with a conscience on the FBI side did let him know, because it was a bad day for the U.S. when science is, well, it's not the first time, but messed with and suppressed.
99% of scientists who want to keep their funding agree with what they're told to say.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying he's been silenced. How has he been silenced?
Well, it's not. Well, in the American Forensic Academy, after that case, they humiliated him. The lawyers on the other side. See, that's where it shouldn't be. That the lawyers can dictate the science. They already have mechanisms to show. It's called Fry hearing, or what's the other one? The Daubert hearings, where the judges can determine whether the science can be allowed into the case. And so they put it like a dunce cap on his head and showed this in front of the American Forensic Academy meeting at the time, and it was put on by Baez, who was her lawyer, and all of the people that are on the board at that time were her lawyers, or her expert witnesses and her lawyers. So they totally humiliated him, and they have been erasing him and his work. They've been putting their names on it. And I mean, I've seen where certain FBI people said they did his work at the body farm, the UT.
Vicky?
Yes?
Can you give me your Telegram channel or send me a link somewhere?
Yeah, if I have to know yours, I have to write it down.
If Mark's got it, Mark.
I'll add you into her group when we're all done here.
Excellent. Cheers, man. Yeah, thank you. Because it's like that's something that needs to get out to people who might have the ability to help. Well, so that sort of thing needs to be posted around everywhere we can, so we can find someone who can actually help. Let's do that.
Remember, the US isn't the only country in the world. And there are angel investors elsewhere. There are, there's markets elsewhere.
Yeah, fully. That's what I mean. We just need to get it out to everyone. Because that's a good idea.
I'm just really surprised that the U.S. military hasn't tried to get it in order to, or even the Veterans Association, to take and go find the remains of some of the Vietnam vets that were still in Vietnam that passed away and things like that. I'm just really surprised that some group like that hasn't tried to get a hold of it.
Well, after he was let go from the National Labs, and he was forced to retire because basically the three-letter agency said, get rid of him. And he had done work for the three-letter agencies. He had very high clearance. So, but it does follow that once they're done with you, as they were done with the team that went in and got bin Laden, they will gladly get rid of you. Get rid of you.
Careful. Reeling you back in this time.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to go to our next break here real soon, so we don't want to get in too deep. So, folks out there, we're going to go to our next break, and we'll be right back after this with more.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Mannion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Mannion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Mannion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismannion.org. That's travismannion.org.
This is the last segment of the second hour. It's been June 11th, 2025, and it's 9:29 p.m., and I'm turning it back over to Miss Vicky Vass.
Yes, he has not advertised because he wants it to be used to find missing and
Vicky. Sorry,
yes.
Please reintroduce what it is after the break.
Okay, it's the quantum oscillator. It uses resonance frequencies to find missing people, alive or dead. But it can also find anything of a crystalline nature that, if you put part of it into the Faraday cage, it will send out that message, and then it waits for the positive identification message, resonance frequency to return, and that will find it. That will
Pinpoint it.
Pinpoint it. And so that now he also works with cadaver, search and rescue dogs, as a confirmation, because this is a new machine. And so the more science you have, with the dogs, and the more you have scientifically, it's stronger. It just reinforces. So
if you've got statistical proof of it actually being successful.
Vicky, could that machine be used like from an airplane or a helicopter while you're doing the search?
Yeah, he frequently loves to hang out in helicopters using that machine.
Cool.
It does work. Yeah,
that's really good.
In cars, and on boats.
Wow.
Because it can pick up from the water. And so he has a partner he works with in it's Peace River Search and Rescue out of Florida. And they actually have an otter, a cadaver otter that can find under the water. It's trained on odor, but the cadaver's there, and if his machine will point and find a place, and then they'll release the otter, and the otter will come back and say, "Yep, there it is." Wow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about how it works with water, and if he's ever used it like out in the ocean or near lakes or rivers
as well. So seriously, I've actually heard about them before. They bury body parts on ground, and they get rewards of they'll map out a rectangular square section in segments, and they'll bury something like 1-2 spots, and they'll send them out, and they'll see if they can actually find it. If they find the body parts or whatever, they get given a treat, so a reward for finding it. And that's how they train them to do it, and then they start sending them underwater to do it. So they do actually train these otters to find cadavers, because they know if they find something, they get rewarded.
And they have horses also. So the Peace River Search and Rescue is cadaver dogs. It's the horses, like EquiSearch, and the most recent was the otter. And I believe the otter went to another country right after it's so he's got a new one that he has had some success, and it's not very old, but Mike is just a wonderful trainer.
I think it was some random Eastern European bloc country or something. I don't know why. I'm thinking Lithuania or something is where they kept running with the otter cadaver program.
But he's still
I
doing
could be
it
wrong.
too.
I know it was some really obscure country. It wasn't like any of the major countries that still followed up with it, if you know what I mean. It wasn't like a superpower. It was some smaller country, and they were actually really having success with it.
We're doing cadaver research here in the United States with the law enforcement. I mean, it takes place on a regular basis.
Well, I mean, the
but do you use otters?
What's the name of the body farm?
Do we? Oh, otters.
The body farm, the UT, what's this?
I don't know.
At University of Tennessee, that's where my husband started with his PhD thesis. He studied the
decomposition.
Decomposition, thank you. The product.
Yeah, I watch X-Files and all those CSI things and stuff. Yeah.
But that was all based on my husband's research. He was the first. That's what he did for his
so he actually set up the body farm?
Yes, that was his PhD thesis. So he was from out of the anthropology department, and he came in and he said the reason that they were having trouble is determine time since death. So he had come up with a 7th order differential calculus after all of his research. And it's a theorem, I guess it's you plug it in and it will tell you plus or minus a few days correlated with the weather data when that person died. Because it has to go with the weather. But
so he doesn't use the bugs. So he doesn't use the bugs method out of CSI.
You said
this
weather.
larva has infested the body. That means it's been after this long.
It's using the volatile fatty acids. It's using the products of the decomposition. And then he's also had another machine called the Labrador that would, could tell you, and it would actually musically tell you that the degree of the decomposition. I mean, that to me was amazing that they were able to, of the QC, play the machine.
The weird thing is I just thought of some of the music. At what point does it play meow meow?
Well, the death for the animals is very different. Like the music for the pig is, it's just, there isn't.
It sounded like a sheep.
You said something about weather too. What was that about?
He gave a TED talk on it.
On what?
On the TED Talk on the the Labrador. It's 20.
Hey, I don't know if you even want to say his name for anyone to go and look it up. It was like, if he's actually done TED Talks and stuff, like.
Yeah, it was Arpad Bass, and it was the TED Talk in Calgary, Canada, in 2012. Wow. And it explains, and it's 15 minutes, and it explains, how he got into it and what the reasoning, because he's a hard science scientist, and he went into the anthropology field, and they didn't have any ways of pinpointing in the anthropology, department, time since death. I mean, they would call people in and say, well, and people would eyeball it and give guesses. That's what they had before. When this was studied.
Wait, how long ago was that?
That was his 1991. That was his thesis.
Principle of carbon dating.
I'm sorry?
It sounds very similar to the principle of carbon dating.
Yeah.
That's plus or minus 500 years carbon dating. This is correlating with the weather data. It's correlating with the weather data, and so that's when they're able to tell when that person died. And he recently had reported a odor mortis as before it was rigor mortis, alga mortis, and livor mortis, but there's actually odor mortis that they can use. The decay process, if they get air trapping, it can tell. He was trying to put that in front of law enforcement to use the air traps that they have, because it could also pick up drugs if they were using them. And the decay process starts like immediately, believe it or not. Yeah. So, and they can determine that. That was his work prior to the quantum oscillator, which is exponentially different. I mean, that quantum leap.
Sorry, a small story I've just got to give. It was the year before last. I had a next door neighbour die, and I could smell the smell of death. The body was left for about a week. And you could
the decomposition,
smell that smell over the course of the week, increasing. So similar sort of concept.
Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult because with his work, you have to be careful for what DK was saying, that you don't want to give the criminals ideas for how to skirt around or to cover up those remnants of the death. You don't want to do that. So, and then with this resonance frequency, as I said, they have shut him down every way. I mean, they will forbid him to go on the, for no, they'll only allow him to participate in cold cases.
Oh.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you they don't even want him getting in on all of those.
And well, it's bad for the family members, and he's worked with so many family members. And he did go to different places in the South Pacific to identify, because his machine can identify whether they're Japanese or American, you know.
Oh, wow.
And so they're able to, you know, but he got shut down, and, you know, from that too. So,
That's incredible.
but, you know, it's awful. It's awful for the families. That's what he was arguing with the people on Wikipedia, because they put out articles that, oh, this guy is a quack, and he's a junk scientist, and he's a mad scientist, and he's a fraud. And that way, so people who are desperate to find their families, you know, they don't want to. They won't ask him. And that's the sad part. It's like, he can find those people. They just won't let him. They won't let him go.
Wow.
And
so it's a 2012 TED Talk in Canada by Arpad Vass.
Yeah, ARPAD, and the last name is Vass, VA.
Yeah, that's the name you've got showing up on screen.
Oh, okay. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's the name that you want to look up for the TED Talk, is Arpad Vass.
Yeah, and it's and then now he doesn't have any TED Talks on the quantum oscillator. As I said, they don't want, like you said, and we are also in a position of, you know,
needing to be careful about what you say.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I know that they follow us and they know, but I guess they feel like they're comfortable with having shut him down, you know, job-wise, and having smeared his career, and you know, everything they've done to him, and even some of the lawyers that were in that case. If he has another case, they will actually call up and, you know, threaten. If they put Arpad on the stand, they will threaten. That's how far reaching they want to shut him down. And he's gotten death threats before.
I'm going to share the video and a link so you guys don't have to look for it yourself.
Ah, awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, it'll be in the side chat for you guys to check out.
Just looking at the Wikipedia page myself now.
It's just been heartbreaking, you know, for him, and just as to know that he has this and he wants to help, and he can't. They won't let him. I guess we have to wait till everything blows over.
You let that man know he's a sexy man, dude.
I do.
Hey, Roger, watch your mouth.
I see his face right there.
Yeah, I was sure. I was worried he wasn't going to say "sexy man." I was sure a different word was going to come out then.
I had to wait until right towards the end to say something.
But he's my sexy man, so you know.
There you go.
We don't get to talk
Mark,
to Arpad.
Yeah,
so
Mark, I've got your D Live and my D Live. The links in both of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Japanese haven't confronted or embraced what Arpad made and invest in them for the Japanese market.
I was thinking European market, cases like the famous case of people like Madeleine McCann, which has been...
Madeleine.
No, they will definitely not let him use it for that.
No, they won't.
No, 100% no.
That's controlled.
If you ever think they're going to let that be solved, you have no idea who was involved.
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
I mean, even the John Bonet case and stuff, which is very similar. Covered and everything.
Yep, Denver.
Yeah, no, that they wouldn't, and they've messed that up. And then,
oh really?
He I mean, the whole, and he went on the Moors murders, to look, but they put the kibosh on that too. So, in England, that.
I'm well aware of the Moors murderers. I think it's folklore in this country now.
Yeah. And he did go on a that was before the quantum oscillator, but he tried, and they shut him down on that. And so everything, there was even, this was back when the Labrador days with the Death Valley, the Manson.
The Manson.
And, there were a lot of other people that, passed in the Barker Ranch, and, people that are trying to escape, and there were women murdered, there. And they went out and they found hits, but the law enforcement would not allow him to look there, to dig. They won't. A lot of times they will refuse to dig, and then you have to think, okay, what are they covering up?
Exactly.
And so that's another problem, is that there's so many cover-ups that they'll shut him down that way too. So it's he tries.
Yeah, he tries. It's a tough road to hold, because I know my uncle, he never got his patent because of the same thing, because he wouldn't give it to the military for their negative use. He only wanted it for being positive use. And so I can appreciate what you guys are going through. It's horrendous. And as like DK said, there has to be, or even Mark Edworthy, there's got to be somebody other than the U.S. that's willing to fund him, and get them out there. Yeah, get these products out there.
But it's just, he doesn't want to put it in the wrong hands either.
Oh no.
So,
the simple fact is, make it a company, and never sell more than 30% of the shares or something. So people can invest, but they never get a controlling interest.
Like a GoFundMe thing.
No, I mean actually setting up a company and only selling a certain number of shares and retaining the majority yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mm. Yeah.
Several different ways of doing it these days,
I mean, it is still putting yourself in the crosshairs again if you go and try and do it.
Right.
That's the thing.
And that's why, we were just talking about that with some friends today. We just felt like, well, and the good Lord allows it to happen. Otherwise, we just have to kind of wait. And it would be a protection for us. Because, it's, well,
you've got it out there now. So let's see what happens.
Yep.
All right, the only thing you need to do now is give your Telegram link so people can, or whichever other links you need, so people can actually find you and him and see if anyone can help.
I guess I could just put out, since I'm the one has a channel on the...
If you want, make a new Telegram channel. Make a completely new Telegram channel. And then put that link out, and we can all share it around afterwards anyway.
Also, suggest pushing out the content to other platforms as well.
The what? I'm sorry.
Pushing out your content to other platforms as well.
I just meant for an initial point of contact. So we can get in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I know there's still Teams. I know we can get in touch on Teams. But what about everyone else? For the wider listening public, I'd say it would be a very good idea to set up, whether it's Telegram or whatever, or a website, set up something and go, this is where you can get a hold of us, and have a description of things and a way to contact and stuff. And then you can monitor everything that comes through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thing would be, as it stands now, the person that he works with in the Peace River search and rescue, what the law enforcement, even though they have been the ones to find, because they have a machine also, because ARP had wanted them, to have the machine to help find those people, whether he's operating it or not, and so and then the law enforcement turned around and I guess with other people and gave other people credit. So it's very difficult, because he doesn't want to ruin somebody else's, because of his work. It's difficult.
Hey, it's all right. Hey, same thing happened to Tesla. Be very careful. That's what I mean. Be very careful.
Yeah.
Everything got stolen off him because he wasn't business-minded and didn't protect his own interests properly. That's how he got screwed over.
Yeah.
So if you do things properly, you've got a better chance. I'm just trying to give you a few tips.
Yeah.
But I mean, if even one or two of them work, awesome. I'm not saying everything I'm saying is a perfect solve. I'm saying with you putting this out there, you might as well give everyone a chance to help while trying to keep yourself as safe as you possibly can.
Right.
And with that, we need to start wrapping things up. Sorry, we're running on time now. So let's go around the table and get everybody's information out. David, go ahead and start.
Yeah, you can find me under David Champ on Facebook. And I got a picture, not my photograph, but I got a photo of a bobolink bird there, so you know who it is. There's a lot of David Champs. And under David Campione, you can find my UFO identification manual on Amazon.com. Next.
Go for it, Roger.
Vicky? Or Roger? Go ahead, Roger. Roger's smoking again.
All right,
Mark
go ahead.
Edworthy.
Go ahead.
Bloody Roger.
Mark Edworthy.
Okay. Excuse me. Simply on Minds, really. So minds.com/Medworthy. So MEDWORTHY.
Get DK now. DK.
Yeah, I do D-Live under DKspiracy123. Telegram, it's But What If Chat with an underscore between each word, because I made it before you're allowed to use spaces in your titles. I also have Discord. I have a Minds, but I never go there. Rumble channel is DKspiracy. Anyway, check me out as well, guys. Much
Vicky,
love.
you're up.
Fear.
Vicky's up.
Okay. My Telegram is For Such a Time as This, and my ex, which I don't use very often, is
Booklander.
What happened?
Wow.
Went off.
Did she just get gone?
Yeah, she just got going.
Yeah, she just got
What the
gone.
hell
Oh, no,
happened?
let's see, she's waiting in the
Anyways.
lobby. Let her back in. Let her back in and finish off quickly.
Well, we're gonna.
How about Roger? Is Roger back?
Roger, are you there?
There we go. We got her back. It's okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
Vicky's
ahead and
back.
admit her in.
okay. Thank you.
There you
I had
go.
to let her back in. That was weird.
Yeah,
It came up on my screen saying let her back in.
It's the CIA.
No, I'm serious. It came up on my screen saying I had to let her back in.
Thank you. Okay, I'll do it quick. It's at Booklander62 is the X, and then he had given me this information. It's Forensic Recovery Services.org. Forensic Recovery Services.org is all caps, no spaces. It's how you can get in touch with him and his forensic services if you want.
All right.
I will take your DK's
All right.
And everyone's okay.
Mark with Jacek.
Yeah, here we go. Jack Carey was on earlier tonight. You can get a hold of Jack on Facebook. You can get a hold of him probably through his YouTube and some other places as well. And our hostess, who wasn't with us tonight, you can get a hold of Nancy Planetta at Nancy Planetta if you look her up, or Wiccan Vixen. And she's on X as Rider on the Storm. And for me, it's DragisProductions@gmail.com. So I'm going to take us out, folks. It's been great. Nancy should be back with us next week. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we will be back. Good night, folks.
Good
night.
Good night. Good night.
Primary objective successful. Shutdown sequence initiated.